chapter starts with the PXG players reacting to Rin blocking both Kaiser and Isagi's attack. We see the reactions of Nanase, Karasu, Shido and Charos getting the bow, and they start to plan their counter attack, with Charos saying that this will be the PXG grand final. Charos passes the ball ahead and Isagi still wonders how Rin was able to stop the chemical reaction that both him and Kaiser created at that moment. We see that Rin is planning to stick to Isagi in a 4-meter radius. Rin also tells Isagi that he has all his physical abilities and specs ingrained into his brain, and with his physical prowess and Isagi's individual abilities, he can react and stop him in a 4-meter radius. And we can see a circle of energy surrounding both Rin and Isagi. We see the ball passed around by Tokimitsu to Nanase. Also, Rin tells Isagi that in the most critical moment, when he tries to link up again, he will stop him. Isagi is a little bit scared of Rin, saying that Rin is really crazy, wondering what to do next. If he's on him at all times, maybe he should get away for once, but if Isagi starts to move on his own again, his link up with Kaiser will disappear, and it will get a lot worse than now, and the new bastard will be destroyed. In this moment, Rin has found a new motivation and renewed himself. Isagi can't back out now, he has to beat Rin. Rin says, "That's right, come Isagi. Your mind, your freedom, your dream, your spirit, everything most dear to you, I'm gonna destroy it." Nanase and Kiora fight for the bow, with Nanase telling everyone to just win, even if it kills them. He then passes to Karasu and he passes to Zantetsu. Raichi says, "What? They ran here and didn't stop immediately?" Hiyori also says that they have passed the midfield, and the situation doesn't look good. Charos receives the ball and sends ahead a pass to Rin, saying that this is a killer pass. But this pass was not for Rin, it was for Shido. Shido thanks the contrarian for the pass. Kiora is right in front of him and he's going for the ball. But then guess who joins in, stopping Shido? The wild card that was nowhere to be found in the last chapters. Kunigami steps in and blocks Shido's attack, taunting him by just saying, "Just try to shoot, you vermin." But Shido says that this is too sudden and that he is a contrarian too, leaving both Kiora and Kunigami surprised that he didn't choose to shoot but instead chose to pass the ball to Rin. Rin gets the ball and tells Isagi that it's time for their last battle. Isagi says that the goal is 33 meters away, just a bit too far to shoot, but if they go a few meters ahead, he can shoot, one action, deadline. Shido tells Rin to give him a contrarian pass, but Isagi knows that Rin wants to clash with him and then score the goal. He understands that he is just a sacrificial pawn. So now Isagi says that it's time. Come machine. We see Kaiser going in to steal the ball from Rin too, with him saying it's here, right? Quash and shoot spot barging in. Isagi says that Kaiser is the best. Rin is not too surprised and says that he was waiting for this hit. Kaiser is even more surprised of what a monster Rin is, and instead of clashing with Isagi, he reads them and decides to clash with Kaiser instead, shocking them both. Rin says that his biggest pleasure would be destroying Isagi's greatest passion, and then he goes straight to Kaiser. Kaiser says sorry, but when it comes to physical contact, I had a very special education since he was a kid. Kaiser saying this was crazy. Rin is shocked by the way Kaiser is stealing the ball from him, by the posture of him, and Kaiser spins in the air. Kaiser blocks the shot and says that his upbringing was way worse than theirs. Also Isagi says, "Are you a god? You damned superstar." Isagi has to stop glazing, it's getting out of hand. And at the end of the chapter, we also see the last words of the chapter being Kaiser, who grew up in the dark, defended by a threat. It's time to counter. The next chapter is named The Fastest. There will be no break next week, which is great. So let's talk about the chapter in a little bit more detail. In the last few chapters we see that the PXG players are really hyped up and they really want to win the game. In this chapter we see how Nanase tells them to win even if it kills them. I also want to talk about how the PXG players all want to win, with Rin as an exception of course. He still only wants to destroy everything that is connected to Isagi. In the chapter we see how Shido realizes he can't get through the defense of BM, and how he chooses to pass the ball to Rin instead of losing it. Also seeing Charos make a pass to Shido instead of Rin was not that surprising. I guess he just likes Shido's style way more. Charos really is one of the core players of PXG. Without him it will be really hard for them to play the game. We saw a lot of characters in this chapter, which was cool. Seeing how Kunigami and Kiora completely blocked Shido, it was nice. Isagi has to think of some way to shake off Rin, because as it stands, Rin is totally blocking him. We see how Isagi thinks about starting to move on his own again, but in doing so he his link up with Kaiser would disappear. If that happens, they will be back to square one and it will mean the absolute victory by PXG. But later, Rin is in a similar situation but chooses to play on his own instead of passing to Shido. Another thing that was interesting was how Rin switched up. Instead of clashing with Isagi, he chose to clash with Kaiser. Maybe in doing so he will show Isagi how he is a lot better than him, and that is by crushing Kaiser instead. I want to talk about how Kaiser was a little bit too chill in the last chapters, but in this one he really has shown us how strong he is when he's angry, with how he managed to stop Rin. I think that we all needed to see this angry Kaiser back in action again. The way Kaiser builds up his anger is by remembering his childhood, telling Rin that when it comes to physical contact, he had a very special education since he was a kid. That was crazy, but the way he blocked the ball was even more crazy, spinning in the air while saying that he's a piece of shit. He still hates himself. And that's all for this video. Tell me your thoughts about the chapter in the comments. Also, let's hope that this game ends in 1 or 2 more chapters, because this is becoming way too much. Are we going to see another 3 evolutions until the end? Anyways, thanks for watching, see ya.